Cameroonian, Moroccan and Nigerian soldiers practice house clearance drills. Skills they need to take on IS and Al-Qaeda cells across the Sahel, a region that takes in more than a dozen African countries, where desert turns to savanna and where terrorists are looking to grow their influence.
Again, a good point, we hit each one of the buildings.
Britain's role today, training ahead of deploying, helping build an African solution to an African problem.
Personally, I think it's better African nations deal with their problem themselves because they know the terrain better than whoever else. All we just need is cooperation and, I think, better technology. Then we can deal with our problems ourselves.
The Army says this approach is born from past experience.
We have learnt a lot in the 15 to 20 years that we did Iraq and Afghanistan in terms of mentoring, coaching and assisting our partners, in this case the Nigerians. And actually this approach works well for the resources we have at the moment, what the Nigerians want, and that's part of the issue, what they need.
The final battlefield exercise aims to replicate frontline missions against Boko Haram, the group affiliated to IS. These Nigerian troops are preparing to take out a violent extremist leader in a scenario which they say relates directly to the reality of taking on Boko Haram in their own country. Men from Nigeria's 707 Special Forces Brigade are tasked with capturing a high-value target. They also need to seize volatile explosive chemicals.
Back in my country, Boko Haram, they are well known for improvised explosive device. So, how they get how they get their materials to form these bombs is quite alarming. So, the bomb maker is coming to the country. He has sourced for materials. There's an exchange point, so we're going to raid that location and get everything out. So.
When asked if they'd like to see more British soldiers on the front line, the response is diplomatic.
As it is like that would be the work of the federal government of Nigeria and that of the United Kingdom. So that's not for me to say. If they approve it, good and fine. If not, keep on kicking.
Capturing key terrorist targets on the front line is something these Nigerian troops face on a regular basis. But without effective command structure behind the scenes, victories get lost.
We need to ensure that their command and control is coherent. They're interoperable across boundaries because the insurgents will move freely across those inter-country boundaries. So very much, my personal focus on this exercise has been developing the multinational headquarters together in order so that they understand each other's processes and they can share information and intelligence.
Senegal is the location for this year's Opmancio. Although the country shares a northern border with volatile Mali, Senegal is seen as one of Africa's most stable democracies. Troops across the region must learn to work more closely together.
Terrorism now is transnational, like the Boko Haram swearing alliance to ISIS. They're all trying to form unions, so in order to fight them, we need regional collaboration.
A key part of the exercise is training in house-to-house fighting, what's known as close-quarter battle, or CQB skills.
We've been working a lot on methods of entry, how to enter a building, trying to develop the safest, soundest way of clearing through buildings. Because that's one of these guys' main roles. They do a lot of work in the urban environment. They do a lot of strike, a lot of capture of high-value targets.
Another area of intensive training has been combat first aid.
They were telling us experiences of when they've taken casualties while clearing buildings and they haven't known what to do, and friends of theirs have bled out and died because they don't know what to do. So just that basic lifesaver treatment and combat medic stuff, which we've been able to develop with them, will hopefully aid them when they're fighting up in the north.
And the feedback?
The training went very well. We are learning new British techniques and now we will try and apply these ourselves.
But despite this increase in training and mentoring, the security situation in the Sahel is deteriorating fast. Later this year, the UK will send 250 troops to Mali to form part of a UN peacekeeping force. Critics, including the French, who lead the 5,000-plus Operation Barkhane, also based in Mali, say many more are needed. But Major John House, commander of B Company 1 Scots, insists Britain is doing enough.
In response to the deteriorating situation, we are stepping to the fore, both to build up the capacity of our African partner nations, as well as putting UK personnel in the region to deter and defeat those threats.
Regardless of debate over the right strategy to win this fight, what is not in dispute is the link between the rise of violent extremism in the Sahel and terrorist attacks in the UK.
There's a very real link between those activities on the streets of the UK and Western Europe and those activities down here. Of course, through the use of drug trafficking, slavery, etc., that funds these issues, that we're best off treating this as a source rather than as final destination.
The British training effort is attached to a much larger US mission in Africa. The Americans are worried about the speed with which terrorist groups are gaining influence.
If one country does collapse, it could create a domino effect, and then if we don't monitor and look at the threat here and keep violent extremist organizations from creating a safe haven in the region, then yes, they could potentially collaborate and build a larger entity and could attack US or European interests.
Confidence and positivity, qualities these soldiers badly need as they prepare to deploy to this new front line against terror. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.